Hello everyone and welcome to another recording. Today we have Hannah Springett with us. So Hannah is the founder of HLabs. It's a London-based creative strategy agency and they're specializing in bespoke interactive experiences, which is obviously why she's here on the call today with me. Now she leads a team of over 40 designers, strategists and makers. They operate end-to-end from creative direction and digital strategy all the way to design, production, motion, 3D and editorial. So HLabs is known for moving fast without cutting corners. They use a no-code platform to turn ideas into polished interactive work, and it goes live and it performs. So they do all that in a very magical way that Hannah is going to share with us whilst we're on this call. So everyone stick around to find all the little nuggets. Hello, Hannah. How are you today?
I am great, Roger. How are you?
I am amazing. And we're having a bit of a joke that you didn't know it was a video recording and everyone is very snuggly over on the other side. The truth is, when it comes to the creative industry, you need to be comfortable so you're in the right frame of mind. So if you do your best work the way you're feeling comfortable, then you should be comfortable as much as you can be. So tell us a bit about you, Hannah. How did you start the business? How did HLabs begin in the first place?
Okay, so I used to be a graphic designer. I used to work at a tech startup as a creative strategist. I spent about 5 years in that company, going around the world, kind of doing a bit of sort of sales and training role, but with a creative background to help enterprise clients learn a bit of tech and know how to make money for their company with that tech. And in 2020, I decided that sticking to one piece of technology was quite constraining as a designer. And so what I wanted to do was allow any creative avenue to come my way. So I went freelance. I set up HLabs, start of 2020, 3 weeks before lockdown. I got one contract that got me through that period. So my first client was Vogue. So, not everyone can say that, you kind of start a business and your first client's Vogue. But I went to work there for 6 months and then it was using that last tech that was called Seros. Went into Vogue, helped them utilize that bit of technology with branded content in publishing, helped them make a lot of money. And then through the growth of working with them, they said oh, can you grow with our business? Can you train more people? So it kind of happened very, very quickly. After the first year, I had 6 people. After the second year, I had 12 people. Then we jumped to like 30, and now we've got over 40 creatives in 13 different countries, speaking 17 different languages. And lockdown was a really interesting time to start a business because we had to focus so much energy on remote ways of working and finding talent, keeping talent, and also allowing different communication styles to really be effective across Slack. So it's been a bit of a wild we're in our 6th year now, about to finish, but we put no-code technology and brilliant creative at the heart of what we do, and we help enterprise clients tell great stories.
It sounds like it's a gem that was forged in the heart of COVID. So remote working, finding the best way to work digitally, finding the best way to deliver whilst not being in the same room. And all that happened while so many other businesses were actually going downhill because they didn't have that in place. So that's such a fortunate place to discover the company, if you will. So how was it working with Vogue, just out of interest?
So working with Vogue was brilliant. We worked together collaboratively. I worked with another senior designer, and we did A/B testing for two no-code technologies. We compared the results. We looked at dwell time. We looked at click-through rates. We looked at retention, which, for anyone that doesn't know that, when you scroll down to the bottom of the page, where do they go next? Where's the next part of their journey on their website kind of story? And it was really amazing that for the first time I was actually testing the technology that I'd worked for and actually proving that it could improve your engagement. So having some of those metrics on a client as big as Vogue was amazing. So there was one thing that wasn't made public, but it was an A/B test we did to a small focus group, and it was taking a cover story. And there was a magazine, I've got it somewhere in my house, of a Rihanna cover, and she wore a durag on the front cover of Vogue. So it was a really big really big piece. And what we did is we took that digital story about the front cover and we changed the design and sent it out to a focus group with a dark background, with more immersive video, with audio bites, with more animated carousels. And through that kind of scrolling experience, people were able to A/B test against the CMS version that was very much static, didn't have as much interactivity on it. And the one that we created got 300 times more dwell time. So from that point, they kind of knew something was in it, but we had to work with their CMS system to not do complete layout changes, because then you're kind of dealing with brand implications, and Vogue is very specific about that, which is understandable. But we proved that the functionality worked. So what we kind of came up with HLabs was 15 templates that were in module format that you could add into a CMS in an iframe. I'm getting technical for some of the users, I can tell. But again, it was putting sections of code or code snippets, or some people call them widgets, or things like that. But how you would embed like a YouTube video or like say an Instagram post, same thing. You can use no-code technology, create new animated and interactive content and inject it into an existing CMS. And it adds to that functionality that, big enterprise clients can't, build quick enough to test. So the whole reason we were brought in was to test the functionality to prove it was worth building through their engineers. So for me, it was a really good learning curve. Condé Nast are still one of our biggest clients, which is really great. And we work more on the branded content side, which is like advertorial. So when you're reading through a magazine and you see all of those ads, it's like, how do we make that more engaging online? So we do the digital versions of that.
Okay, so in terms of the digital modules that you were creating, were they more like dynamic templates of things work well, and then depending on whatever the content is going to become based on Vogue's story, they apply it to your templates? Is that the idea?
Yeah, totally. So depending on like what your website is built on, every business should have a website. It's your shop window online when people are Googling. So as soon as someone lands on your site, you want something moving or something interacting. Now, obviously, there's like a battle between accessibility and interactivity, which you have to be mindful of. But it's, micro animations, like when you're hovering over something, you might change a color. Or if you're scrolling down, like the new one with AI and ChatGPT search that you should be implementing in your website is accordions with FAQs. So if the one module you should bring onto your site, and most sites have this as a standard module you can choose from, is FAQs, that you put your questions in and then have answers that your clientele or your prospects are likely to ask for you. But it's things like that. So it could be an accordion, it could be a carousel, it could be a click to flip. So again, it could be a card with something hidden on the back of it, or it could be a photo, like whether you're in like maybe e-commerce, maybe you want to shop the look, maybe you've got like a catalog pose where it's like, shop that hat or those jeans or those trainers, being able to jump straight to that e-commerce page. It's about like allowing the user to choose what they want to look at next.
Yeah, that sounds like you need to take psychology or the response of the design into account when you're putting content on a website so that you can get the best result. But is it all just trial and error, or is there a science behind it? Are there things that are already in place and you should never mess with, and then things that you can go and play with?
Okay, so I think like if there's a trial and error situation, depends where your users are and what they are looking for. I think one of the common misconceptions around adding storytelling to your site or adding on-scroll interactions, you're better off doing that for like a campaign page, a blog page, or like a new product launch. Whereas if you're doing like e-commerce, you want someone to buy that product as fast as possible. So again, there's that thing between, do you want them to buy quickly, or do you want to spend time on your story and process the messaging that you're putting across? Now, all brands need to do both, but it's choosing what pages of the site you need to do that. So if you're going to add a little bit of sparkle on the homepage, you don't want a really heavy experience on your homepage, because otherwise people might bounce. But if you've got like a secondary page that's very targeted around a new product launch or a particular campaign, then you might want to explain the nuances around that message, or it's got a real essence that that user needs to take away. And they might think about that much longer term down the line and go, I remember that campaign, I'm going to come back. So I think, we don't deal a lot with the e-com side. We're not on, the kind of Shopify circuit. That's not our thing. We're much more, working with editorial vendors or, maybe NGOs or like big brands doing the reporting side of their business, to talk about their metrics that they need to get across to investors. It's those kind of thing where people have got a little bit more time and want that escapism, and they want to look at something really visually stimulating to remember, rather than I'm on this hub, I need to get to this information quickly, or I'm doing a quick search, I need to know where to buy this extractor fan or air fryer or something. So again, it's very much like there's a method in it if you've got those long-term engaging clients versus the speedy transactional clients.
Okay. So in terms of running the business, you did say that you started developing the whole process during COVID and the remote working. When you came out of COVID, did you keep that going? Like up to today, we're now 6 years ahead? Are you now still completely remote in the way that you work?
Well, we've got the option to be completely remote. So we've got 17 people in the UK. And the rest are remote. So we have a daily stand-up. So 9:30 till 10, the entire team gets on one call. It's cameras on.
40 people.
Yeah, 40 people. But we are trying new ways. Like, obviously, it's quite difficult contributing when there's 40 people on a call. We started the new year yesterday with trying to get more engagement on morning calls, because we all need to be there to know what each other's working on. We think it's really important for everyone on the team to see what else is going on, rather than just getting a Slack message to say you're on this today. Because we realized that with remote working, you have to find more ways for people not to feel isolated, and they want to feel part of a team. So we do online quizzes, we do strategy sessions. So this morning I broke up the team into 4 groups, and we looked at 4 really sad 4 strategy graphs about our profitability. So I gave each group a chart to look at and said, go away with your group, talk about what this chart is telling you and what strategies you would apply if you were CEO for a day. Really interesting stuff came back. So I got told to take seniors off some of the brand work. I'm like, I would love to, but you have to level up more like midweight or junior people to make the profitability make sense. But we are very transparent with our team. We try and engage them in a lot of the discussions that we have as a business. We're a very close-knit unit. Last year I went to visit. In the last 2 years, I've visited nearly every person in their unique countries. So I've been to Romania, I've been to Lisbon. We've got an office in Amsterdam that I visited. I'm going to Romania in 2 weeks' time for a wedding on the team, which is amazing. I've still got to do India, which is on the list. But again, it's making. I'm
imagining you with your accountant just sat there and saying all these business trips that I need to do. Oh no, I need to go to Lisbon next week.
But if you think about it, there is a real strong case for remote work, because we are able to find the best talent in their areas that are cheaper than the UK. So I'm not going to sit here and say that we pay absolutely equally across the globe, but we did make sure that last year we raised all of the minimum wages for junior levels across the globe. So we actually ended up giving, some pay rises as much as 35% to match those minimum wages for London living wage. So again, there's things that you can do to make sure that you're a fair employer, but also you're making sure that those people in remote circumstances are paid really well, and they're at the top end of their pay bracket for local areas, but they're working on, enterprise global clients like Red Bull, Vogue, and, WWF as a charity. Like they're clients that a lot of the individuals wouldn't be able to work with as a freelancer. So working through us, they're seeing the benefits of both of those things. And we get them to come and visit with UK and offer travel visas to come and visit the UK when appropriate. So there's a couple of different methods there that we can apply.
Okay, so what is the makeup of the team? You've got 40 people, and what's the split? Is it 30 designers and 10 people working on admin? How does it work?
Oh, no. So we have got an interactive org chart. I'm not going to show that today, but majority is in design. We grew really early on in the business with designers first because I'd done it. I know how to be a designer. I know how to, take instructions and briefs from other people in a corporate environment. So that was the easiest thing to scale up. The next thing we bolstered onto that was project managers, because we realized the admin and the part between the client and the designer was the thing that we needed help with. And for project managers, you need people that can take instruction, be resilient when clients are quite difficult, but also on designers, there is a tendency to be more introvert. And so we are also doing training on our team to help everyone on the team have more communication skills, whether English is their second language, how can they communicate with clients more accurately. And then as we went past just using Seros, in year 2 we partnered with a bit of tech called Vev. So it's a very similar tool that creates landing pages, microsites, modules in no time at all. Then we did a partnership with Webflow, partnership with ReadyMag, partnership with Framer, which is the new kid on the block, which a lot of teams are now using for its CMS capabilities, with being very intuitive for designers to pick up because it's so similar to Figma. And then we've got a couple of animation tools that we partner with as well. So some of you might have heard of Rive. They actually took one of the lead engineers from Lottie Files to kind of kick off their business. So really smart bit of tech, and it makes making animated videos for the web much faster. So anyone that knows web development, putting heavy videos on your site is going to slow your site down. If you've got vector-based animation, so if you're doing an explainer video, or you've got cute little illustrations, or you've got diagrammatic things to explain your business model, if you use Rive instead, you can not only save load time on your site, but you can actually interact with the animation as well. So things can follow your cursor around the page. It could be that as you're scrolling, one of the diagrams changes and spins round. So for technical startups, that could be a solution for a lot of things. And it's kind of replacing the need for After Effects for a lot of animators as well, because designing for the web just means it needs to be super fast to load, which is really, really important. So as we kind of opened up these tech partnerships, getting back to your question, we needed developers and animators and 3D artists that were specific to those bits of tech. So now our kind of no code creative technologists, as it were, they're not just developers. They can put their kind of heart and soul into creating 3D models. They can, load up a new bit of tech and embed AI into a bit of technology that we're working with. But a lot of the things we're seeing now, it's the crossover between design and technology, which is why we call them creative technologists, because you have to be able to problem solve for the particular client that you're working for.
Okay, and those clients are of that level where you need to get the right result. Are they interactive enough to give you feedback and work with you on the process, or is it more of a here you go and do it, and we'll tell you if we're happy when you get to the end of the project?
Are we talking clients or team members?
Clients mostly, but the team members are, you've already said you're quite close to them. You see them every day, so you're able to interact with them and run with their projects. What happens with the clients? Because being remote means that you can only interact with clients usually when you're online or through email or through some kind of digital means. So how does that work?
So we've got a pretty heavy split that a lot of my original clients were US based. I think there's also the reason why I have remote people, perhaps in Eastern Europe, in India, in Canada, we had some people working in Brazil last year. Obviously, with these economic areas, it's cheaper to hire there for me to get the best talent. But also, we've seen that from a client to agency kind of part, that most of my client base is US. And that is because the design and development agencies, say if you're looking for a design agency in New York, it's going to be triple my price bracket. So again, we're seeing this offshore model that is okay because of COVID, about doing calls online, jumping on stuff, having different time zones. We try and use it the best we can to our advantage. So if I take one of our clients, we have overnight 24-hour lead times for new projects. So we're on a retainer with them. So they've paid up front and they're ticking working off hours with us across the year. Now, they're based in the US. They might have a last minute project come in. We use Jira. They will raise a card on Jira for one of the set templates that we've agreed a set time and a set price on. So if they set up a card and say, we need one of these, but can you start tomorrow? We pick it up first thing in our morning. We've pulled together all of our questions. We've pulled together their content matrix. We've pulled together a duplicate of that template to start content production. And by the time we've woken up, we can already have half of that project kind of started. Now, obviously, a lot of the people listening to this might think oh, well, how long are your projects to be working on SLAs like that? Majority of our projects are complete within 3 weeks. We have a very high turnover of projects. In 2025, we did 465 projects.
Nice.
So high pace, but some of those projects might be 3 days. So again, getting the brief overnight, setting up the template, waiting for content. Great. We get the content, then we deliver a first pass at it, send them back an embed code to test on the page. If they're happy with all of that, we do the mobile versions and then send them a third and final version for them to post online. And that's like a project that's 3 days. If we're doing a bigger project, like one of our microsites or one of our, bigger campaign pieces, that will be, maybe over 2-3 months. But again, there's check-ins that are on digital calls. We might have weekly calls. And again, we have a lot of our clients on Slack. So that we can instant message and break down that communication where it's super fast. Like, I absolutely hate email. Like, I'm really bad at it. So it's kind of, if it's not on Slack, I'm actually seeing a lot of my clients that are doing deals and generating new leads, and that nurture bit before you close a deal. WhatsApp is actually working best for us at the moment. And that's from me to the individual stakeholder, where it's a bit more back and forth. You're really talking about what you need to make something happen. It feels more casual. So people are often able to talk more about timelines or costs in that frame, rather than doing on email where it feels like you're being scouted by people above you that might be reading your info.
Well, I've had a big problem with my emails because obviously being an executive, you get emails from a lot of people wanting things from you, and then you also get people within the team emailing you, and then you also get things that you never want to see at all. But then there's the important emails that you need to think about it. And what I tend to do with that is that I clear my inbox with all the things that I can clear, because I can see the number going down, and then realize that I've got 20 emails left in my inbox. I'm like, yes, I've done it. But those are the 20 important ones that I've been putting up, because they take about 2 hours each to actually go and respond to. So, I guess.
Can I ask what inbox you're using? Like, do you use any AI kind of help? Like, how are you using tech to help with that as a C-suite? Because it's really
that is something that I've been meaning to go and have a look at. But I've used a Wix based like it highlights, it puts flags on the emails and then gives you a bit of a summary in it. And I use Gemini a lot when I'm jumping on documents that I'm about to respond to emails. And actually, this is recorded on Google. So something new that Google is doing in their Google Drive, which we use as a main document platform for storage. They have like a summary of the folder that you're in, and it gives like a summary of the latest things that you've just put in on the top of the folder before you do anything. So that's all quite interesting. But what I found is that sometimes it's almost like too big of a tool for the job, because I have a lot of emails that are just spam, but I want to see the spam.
Yeah.
So I can consider whether it's relevant to me at that moment in time. So I'm looking at something and it says, we can help you raise investment. And I'm like, yes, but I'm not raising investment right now, and I'm not planning to for the next 6 months. So delete. I'm not even going past it. Whereas if an AI was to go through and say low quality email, and then I have to read the summary, it takes longer for me to go through that process. Yeah. Now, when I do get to the bottom of the important emails, each one of those, I create a separate folder within my archive. And then I start pulling in information from all the different docs to the materials folder. And then I start building up the case before I go and respond to it. So that's why it takes a lot longer. In terms of AI, what we mostly use it as is the customer care one. Because if someone lands on our website and starts sending information out that needs an answer, rather than me going through answering FAQs essentially and trying to figure out things that we have already figured out before, we have a tool on our CRM that looks at past information of what, and then from there it solves the problems as they come. Now, if there's a problem that needs a person, then he goes and says, okay, let me refer you to someone, and then brings it to us. So that's how we use it in that sense. Mostly, I'd say we use it in prototyping. If we do need to get a design up, which we don't do what you do, where you've got your templates pre-configured and you know what works and what doesn't, we have an idea and we're thinking, how would we put it together? And then we fire it into Gemini 3.0 into the canvas, and then it creates the code and it creates a preview. And then we play a bit with it, and then we're like, okay, we know what we're building. Let's go and do it. And that's how we deal with that. Okay, back to the structure that we've been following. So obviously we know where you are today. You're working with a lot of high profile clients, and you've got a team of 40 all around the world, and you love to travel and go and meet with us. So in terms of the next 5 years, the next 10 years, where do you see your industry going? What kind of tools do you see coming up that would be helpful to you? And what potential dangers do you see in terms of the way you're working, and how do you prepare for them?
So I think we're still in a state of flux this year. In 2025, we initiated a research study to work this out, because I had a coach for a long time to be like, I want an agency, I want to be working with enterprise businesses, I want to work with multiple techs. And it was like tick, tick, tick. And I even got the house that I'm sitting in, whether I've got no heating or not, I still bought the house. So as a founder, like I did the tick sheet and went, I've done everything that was on the vision board for the 5 years, and now I need to work out what the next bit. And the answer, Roger, is I haven't actually worked that out yet. So we did a research study last year, because the state of our industry is in flux. AI is an unavoidable topic that we need to be on top of. But the creative technologists on my team, as long as we're 6 months ahead of our enterprise clients, there's still life for HLabs to exist, because we can at least give, knowledge and experiments and things that we've tried to our clients to say, don't waste time on that. Focus your energies here. This is where we're seeing trending across publishing or across brand reach or whatever. So it's, again, that's like the minimum risk management we have to contain.
When you say 10 years, do you say 10 years ahead of your customers?
No, I said 6 months. I just need to be 6 months ahead of them at the moment.
What do you mean ahead, though? In what sense?
I think with a lot of enterprise global businesses, and I'm talking about the ones that have got hundreds of thousands of employees, to implement any process, however small, it has to go through so many rounds of sign off, whatever. They're not agile to move enough. And I think like what's been interesting, reading on LinkedIn and, on Substack and, the people that I follow, it's even happening with the big agencies now. So like the people that I used to aspire to work with, you're talking like Ogilvy, Mediacom, WPP, all of those big agencies are now so big because they've bought up all of these smaller agencies. It's the agileness and the rate of change that you can adapt to technology. That is the struggle, because if you find something that works, so say, Roger, we go, you know what, I've been using Superhuman on my Gmail account because it flags everything, and my most important client, it puts all those emails in a VIP box, so I look at those first, to your point, right? It also filters out all my invoices and my employee emails because I know someone's probably already covered them. So say that I found that and it changes my business and it saves me 50% efficiency of all of my expenses or whatever. For me to implement that with one of my clients, they would have to go and get sign off for that to be put on 100,000 machines to have the protocols, the stress testing, the procurement or whatever. And for new tech in big companies like that, procurement can take up to a year. So any new tech that I can go, this is the best thing in the world, they can even go, I really want to use this and we see the benefits, but they can't implement it for a year. So that's why I said there's this gap where as long as I'm testing and showing them new things and dangling the next carrot, it's working out what their needs are and what they can invest in that change. So the research study we did, this is a shameless plug for our new thing. So what's the future of storytelling? We made a print magazine just because we didn't want people to throw it away. Because how easy is it you to click a link, open a newsletter on your email, the phone rings and then you go and do something else, or you're on LinkedIn, you get a Slack message, you go do that, you forget what you're doing. Our attention spans are so low on actually investing in content. We actually wanted to give away stuff that would lay on people's desks. So in this, we did 3 levels of research. We did a study on Typeform to general general public and people on my LinkedIn. We did one-to-one interviews, and we did 3 roundtable focused industry expert like kind of conversations. So we did one in New York, one in Amsterdam, and one in London. And so we pulled all of that research together around where this state of change is, where people are focusing. And what came out of that, research is that people still need to have that human touch. Now, I'm all for AI and automation to save you time. But again, it's about finding the real storytelling that's going to resonate with people, that is not just being created based on a load of stuff that's in the past already. So new things is where creatives really have to force themselves to be even better, because to cut through all of that stuff, to have something that really resonates, to feel human, you have to be human. And creatives relying on, AI for new ideas for adverts or new ideas for stories, you're still not having that injection of getting ahead of that stuff. So it's a balance, right? How do you have it in your business, right? Because it is that battle against efficiency, creativity. You have to have both.
Yeah. And in terms of AI, I do find that it's a very good tool for ping pong playing. It's where you're starting a new idea, or you've had a few thoughts, but sometimes for the creative process, you need to. I was just having a video call, another recording right before this one. And the person I was speaking to, his name is Will, and he is in the VR, XR, 3D mapping and creation world. And what they've been working with Ubisoft on is a historical recreation of the American Revolution on site using XR. So his whole point was that before he's the creative director. So before he starts writing anything or putting any ideas down, he has the project and he goes to location, just walks through and talks to people about what he's about to go and do. Because according to him, that's what breaks his mold of creativity and forms it towards the thing that he's working towards. So in that principle, he is already being creative by being on site and having that external stimuli. What we tend to find with AI is that when you are in your little box and your little bubble and you keep creating things without changing environments, you end up going in a loop, and then eventually you're stuck in that loop forever. So in the creative approach, if you fire an idea over to AI and it gives you 5 different approaches out, suddenly it's triggered your creativity. Oh, I wasn't thinking about that, but now that I am, what if? And then you fire it back, and then it comes back, and then, oh yeah, good point, but what if? And then that becomes a conversation with a person that's not really there. You're really talking to yourself. You're working on the average across the internet. Yes, that's the responses you're getting, but now it's up to you, the creative, to form that into the project that you're going to work on. And even then, it accelerates your work, and it can be creative because you're involved. The moment you're not involved, then it's a ping pong game against 2 racquetballs, whatever they're called, rackets. That's the one. They're playing on their own. It doesn't work. So you need to be able to put that instability in the system to fire out something new, and that's what we're about.
Yeah, and I think that bit, I think that's where the advice that I give to my team and anyone, slightly younger or less experienced coming into the industry, I think it's AI allows laziness to happen really quick, and it doesn't force you to be resilient and do the challenging bit, which is creative work. Creative is hard. Good creative is difficult for a reason, because you have to keep challenging the norms on everything. And so I think it's, building resilience and problem solving and that type of thing, and not relying on going straight to the things they give me the answer for this. It's like, how would you work things out? How does your brain work? How do you connect the dots? I think is definitely any bit of advice I would give to, younger people getting into the industry, for sure.
Well, let's see what the future holds, because we are very close to accidentally falling into laziness, and I'm sure we'll make it through. Okay, this has been amazing, Hannah. Do you have any last words? Any project specific?
I've got one project I'd like to show. Actually, it's got kind of on this future of maybe it's a bit wider than that. It's a piece that we did for Quanta Magazine, right? Okay. They are one of the most scientific, smart set of writers I've ever had the pleasure of working with. The project I'm going to show is about the future of our climate, right? So it's about the future of the world, and they came to us with a build only only project. So they had all the content, and they've got amazing illustrators that worked with our 3D technologists on our team. But it really shows scrolly telling, it shows no code technology, it shows 3D modeling, illustration, and interactivity in a way that I hadn't seen done before. So I'm just going to share my screen, and hopefully this pings up instead of my face. So can you see this?
I can see it very well, yes.
Okay. So you can see the model in the back. So just for the techies out there, this is a 3D model that has been rendered on WebGL that's got a front end of Webflow that has been embedded into Quanta's CMS, right? So there's a lot of stages there. But as we start scrolling, you can see that the scroll activates it going into the central bit here. We have the text coming here, and this is like a hub. So this actually links out to articles about these 9 different futures of our world, and you can see these spinning here. But I'm going to use the right-hand animation interactivity here, and you can see that there's 9 different stories that you can click through. And isn't this content beautiful? Oh my God, I'm obsessed.
Love this.
I'm obsessed. So this one's probably if like COVID takes over again. But again, it was really interesting to show like how these physicians were really thinking about like the future of our planet and how that worked out. And, you know, to be able to apply that to creativity with illustration, 3D, developers together to come up with a scrolling narrative that links into, you know, brilliant copywriting that is based on research, and, you know, that's not AI. That's what I'm here for. So just wanted to share that at the end, just to show just some really beautiful content. So if you want anything like that, you can come find this.
that almost looks like game development. It's like you've taken web design and pushed it to the limits of game creation. Yeah.
We do that too, but that could be another podcast for another day.
Next time. And next time, I want a different jumper that you're wearing next time.
Absolutely, I won't come in ski gear, and I'll have heating in my new flat that I've saved so long to.
When we get to India, we're going to try and do it when you're in India. That's a good one.
We'll do that with Himanshu for sure.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Hannah. It's been amazing. I'll speak to you next time.
Thanks.